Everyone, welcome back. I thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. I hope you all have had a wonderful day and a wonderful night, and continue to have a wonderful day and a wonderful night. Let's get this learning. We can always strive to be the most wonderful and best version of themselves. And also, let's get this learning. We'll have for Shlema, for Ahuva Ida bat Nomi, Chana Panina bat Rachel, Serena bat Leah Tova, Leah bat Mazal, Sherel bat Rachel Tzlacha, Talia bat Roni, Baruch Shmuel ben Chavashena, Adam Tzvi ben Chana Rachel, and 810 Yitzchak ben Chana Rachel. I'll have a 4 Shlema very quickly. And so we're gonna jump back in to Perakim Mishnah Zayin. Asra nisina asu avosinu bebeis hamikdash lo yipila ish ramerech b'sara kodesh v'lo yitzriach b'sara kodesh me'olam v'lo nira zvu bebeis hamid b'chayim v'lo yira ke lechoyin gadol b'yom ha'kippurim v'lo chibu hageshamim ish shel atzei hama'aracha v'lo nitzecha ruach ez amud ha'ashan lo nipsa piso ba'omer ubishtei alechem ubelechem aponim umedim zefufim umishtachavim revachim below hizik nachash ve'akrav Yerushalayim Yolam below amar adam lechavero tzar li hamakom she'alin v'Yerushalayim. 10 miracles performed for our ancestors in the Holy Temple. No woman miscarried because of the aroma of the sacrificial meat. The sacrificial meat never became putrid. No fly was seen in the place where the sanctified meat was butchered. No seminal emission occurred to the high priest on Yom Kippur. The rains did not extinguish the fire on the altar pyre. The wind did not disperse the vertical column of smoke from the altar. No disqualification was found in the Omer, the 2 loaves, or the showbread. The people stood crowded together, yet there was ample space where they prostrated themselves. Neither serpent nor scorpion ever caused injury in Jerusalem, nor did any man say to his fellow, space is insufficient for me to stay overnight in Jerusalem. So, let's just real through it, is that the Beit HaMikdash is that it's a microcosm of the world that Hashem wanted to create, and that in the world before Adam Rishon sin. When it's saying that no one was afflicted from the aroma, it was that even though they knew that this sort of event could happen, is that they still wanted to be in the courtyard, and they didn't have to rely on the leniency that if a woman is pregnant so much that she might, is that if there's an aroma that might cause her to miscarry, there's leniency that she's allowed to eat whatever she needs to, and so in that they might avoid going into the courtyard because of this. But it's that Hashem made it so that that there was no fear of having to rely on this leniency at all. Is that maybe Avos also talks about that the desire for food is related to our physical desires, and that man's desires weren't even aroused as well. But the Ruach Chaim and the many Yitzchak say is that the sense of smell is the only sense that was not involved in the original sin with Adam Rishon and Chava, is that the lack of the meat being putrid, it's that it showed its sanctity. Is that the Magen Mezrich talks about it saying Me'olam is that tzaddikim who elevated their meat, their body, is that they never be putrid by being within the world. Tiferes Yisrael said that for the no flies being in the butchery is that it's just to save the Kohanim from the repulsive sign of the flies and being there, and that the Rav and Rashi saying that for the Kohen Gadol is that the no mission was there in order to spare the Kohen Gadol from that sense of embarrassment. Moving on as well is that Ruach Chaim and the Ruach Chaim of Volozhin talks about when it's saying Geshem, it's talking about Gashmi. Is that it says, so then Hashem's like, when he asks questions like, why not make it never rain by the Beit HaMikdash? Is that it's in order to tell us that we should never let the Gashmi in our life, the physicality and the things that are not important in life, or is it physicality, things that are not important in life, bad translation, but physicality in our life extinguish the fire, the fire of love for Hashem that we have in our heart, and that the Sefer Charedim when it's talking about Beovavi, it's saying that it needs to become like that intense fire, and then as well there's commentaries that talk about it saying how that it's just to save the Kohanim from having smoke in their eyes. Is that the first show when it's saying how there was no disqualification found, says that it doesn't even detect that Hashem didn't let something have a defect there that would cause irreparable damage. The Shloh, the Ruach Chaim, and Rav Karlin talked about how when it's saying standing and bowing, that there's not enough room when you're standing tall with your own pride, but when you bow and be humble, then there's enough room for everyone. And that as well, when it's saying that there's no scorpions or anything in Israel, is that meant that there was talking about that there's no lashon hara in Yerushalayim, and that when it's saying that they didn't have room but no one complained, is that there's practical showings of this even nowadays. My Rebbe Rav Machas Shlita has like 150 people over every Shabbos. It's very packed. It's like you sit down and you're squeezed, but you don't feel like it's like that much. Like you don't feel uncomfortable. You don't feel like you need to leave. It's like there's no space, but no one complains. And so in a very, very, very quick review, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. I hope you all have had a wonderful day and a wonderful night. Continue to have a wonderful day and a wonderful night. So the zoning I'm going to Shabbos to always be the wonderful and best version of themselves. We're going to have, and for Shlema, for Uva Ida Bat Nomi, Chana Pinina Bat Rachel, Serena Bat Leah Tova, Leah Bat Mazal, Sherelle Bat Rachel Tzlacha, Chana Pinina Bat Rachel Tzlacha, Talia Bat Ronis, Baruch Shmuel ben Chavashena, Adam Svi ben Chana Rachel, and Eitan Yitzchak ben Chana Rachel. And we're doing Perakai Mishnah Zion, just really quickly go through it to show an idea. Asani Zayin, Nasu Lavasenu Bebes Midash, Lo Yipila Ishamayach Bitsara Kodesh, Velo Yitzriach Bitsara Kodesh Mialam, Velo Nira, Zevu Bebes Samid Bachim, Velo Ira Kiri, Lechoin Ganobi, Yom Kippurim, Velo Chibu Kshoim Ishel. Azay Amaracha, Velo Nitzcha Ruach Esamud Ha'ashan, Velo Nimsav Fisul Ba'omer, Ubishtei Alechem, Ublechem Abani Mumdim, Siprim, Shachlim, Rabakim, Velo Yizik Nachash Be'akrav, Yerushalayim Me'olam, Velo Amar Adam L'Chavira, Sadly Amakom She'alim Yerushalayim. 10 miracles were performed for our ancestors in the Holy Temple. No one was scared because of the aroma of the sacrificial meat. The sacrificial meat never became putrid. No fly was seen in the place where the sanctified meat was butchered. No seminal motion occurred to the high priest under Kippur. Rains did not extinguish the fire on the altar pyre. The winds did not disperse the vertical column of smoke from the altar. No disqualification was found in the Omer. The 2 loaves of the showbread. The people stood crowded together, yet there was ample space. They prostrated themselves. Neither serpent nor scorpion ever caused injury in Jerusalem, nor did any man say his fellow. The space is insufficient for me to stay overnight in Jerusalem. Just one really quick idea. Chaim of Volozhin talks about when it's saying the rain, the Geshem, it's talking about he's talking about Gashmia. Is that he asked, why not make it never rain? Why not just do that? Is that in order to tell us that we should never let the Gashmia in our life, the physicality in our life, extinguish the fire of love for Hashem that we need to have in our hearts. And that never let the Gashmia in your life extinguish your love of Torah and your love of Hashem. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful day.